Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys, girls, gamers, geezers, geeks, people who live on the center of the universe, people who travel through time rather slowly and poorly. It's this week's Monkey Nut Punch podcast. Always on these podcasting journeys, we've got Nigel. So hello, Nigel.
Hello, everyone.
I've got something special for you, Nigel. Captain Birdseye! Because we all know that you're Captain Birdseye.
Beard couldn't stay away for long.
No, couldn't stay away from long. And the man, the myth, the leg end. It's Keith. Hello, Keith.
Hello.
Now it's time for your intro. I was supposed to get Jabba laughing, but I didn't have enough time. I'll redo that for next week.
Bless poor Keith. There you go.
And as you can see in the bottom corner, finally, after God knows how many months of trying, we've got Dave. Say hello, Dave.
Hello, everybody.
Hello, Dave.
Thank you very much, Gareth. Yeah, cheers. Thanks, mate.
Yes.
It's really good to be on the show. Good to be on the show.
Now I know why Keith does that.
I'll be honest with you. You're like D'Artagnan to the Three Musketeers. Because you joined us on the what do you call it, on the streaming and whatnot, and it's quite good.
That D'Artagnan is actually a pretty good analog. That is pretty accurate, actually.
Yes.
Hang on, Nigel. Did you just say you did not know who Papa Lazaro was?
I don't watch that program. What was it? Was that Gentleman?
League of Gentlemen.
Yeah.
Yes. Hello, Dave.
Yeah, no,
My wife, you don't play that, Dave.
Has Keith done that?
You're my wife now, Dave.
All right.
Well, I have to say, I don't watch the League of Gentlemen either. I'm afraid to say.
All right. Let's get on with the show. So, in our first section, which is the movie section. Did you press the button?
Yeah, my computer froze for a moment.
So, job.
He's not having a good day. Just leave it at that.
Houston, we have a problem.
Okay, Houston, we have a problem. Okay, so the big question was, given the fact that we had the lockdown and all the fun with the beer bug and whatnot, was Tenet a success?
Tenet.
Well, considering I never even...
Tenet.
Anyway, just something. Look, the long short of it, was it a success? As of Monday, the 7th of September, Tenet's made $132 million internationally, including $30 million in China and $20 million in the US. So that's it made international territories. It's made 152, worldwide at the moment. The estimated production cost for this is $205 million. So it doesn't look like it's been a success, but it has come out in a period quite tumultuous, quite difficult for it to come out. I watched it. We're going to talk about it later. Me and Keith are going to argue over it, I imagine. But they described it as the kind of the canary in the coal mine in regards to whether films can do good in the current situation. I'm with them on that. I watched the film. It was good. There was no one in the cinema. There was 6 people in the cinema, and 2 of them were me and my mate. So I don't know. So how do you feel, Keith, in regards to this?
There were a few more than that in our cinema. Actually, for the first couple of seconds, I was more shocked about something else than watching the film. You're meant to stand for the national anthem here for the first time ever. Numerous people didn't stand, which is symbolic of something going on here. But there were a few people in our cinema, but I don't see it working in the UK and America at the moment because there's still a lot of COVID cases are on the rise in both the UK and the States at the moment. So it's a tricky one, unfortunately, and it's a shame because Tenet is made for the cinema. There's no two ways about it. Some of the shots in that film just don't work on a small screen.
Okay, have any of you two ventured to the cinema or even thought about venturing to the cinema recently?
No, I'm afraid I haven't. I'm not. I haven't even Googled if my cinema's even reopened in Basingstoke. I'm sure it has, but I just haven't really been very motivated to go down there. Everything's been going on.
It's it really is an odd situation because the cinema that I go to near me, before the beer bug cut in, I think I watched Sonic and it was rammed on the weekend. It was rammed to the point that there's a guy from my work who I almost knocked his wife open when I flung a set of doors open as I went into the cinema. Well, actually, I pulled them and she was leaning on him at the same fucking time. Really embarrassing. But there were that many people that I could bump into someone that I worked with who doesn't live in the area because people were going out to see things. And now there's not many at all. So I don't know if this bodes well for the other films that are coming out, which are Wonder Woman 1984, which has got a bit of dark cloud hanging over it. Black Widow, and I don't know if No Time to Die was pushed out to April, was it coming, or it's November, because the commercials that they had in the cinema were out of date for both Black Widow and for James Bond when I saw Tenet. So it's a bit of a weird one. We're in a bit of a weird situation when it comes to this sort of stuff, and yeah, it was Sorry, I've just noticed a comment because we've got Babster on, and he said that there were 5 in his cinema, including me and my brother when we went. So again, this is a bit of an odd one because I don't know if people are scared to go into the cinema, or it's just difficult to what do you call it? It's just difficult to go and see what's going on.
I want people to get back to the cinema, but I understand why they don't. I mean, the good news is because there was loads of people freaking out today because the media made a big deal of the Oxford trial pausing. Of course, 4 days later, it's back on again. And there were all these people freaking out on Facebook. And it was like, the amount of people, news stories I was seeing on this and people freaking out and going, this is normal. This is not going to be the only time it's going to pause. It's going to pause many, many, many times because they have to. That's the whole point of a stage 3 virus test. And, the sooner we get this, hopefully get this inoculation, the better, because then cinemas can start getting back to normal. But the cinema trade is in full whack here. Mulan's out, Thingy's out. We're getting Bond in November, aren't we? And we had updated adverts with the dates that they were coming. So
we
didn't get the Marvel movies.
Mulan's out on Disney Plus though.
It is in the States. I don't think it might be in the UK. I'm not too sure.
For an extra $20. For an extra $20.
But that's been a fucking disaster PR-wise from both a US and Chinese perspective.
Yeah, because there's sorry to interrupt, guys, but there was this bit of Disney came under a bit of controversy at one point because an area where China had been accused of atrocious human rights towards this this particular ethnic group. I can't remember what this ethnic group is called.
They're called the Uyghur Muslims.
Yeah, with the Uyghur Muslims. Yeah, basically they've been rounded up into camps for re-education and mind wiring. It's basically just like an ethnic cleansing type of thing. Well, not ethnic cleansing. They're just basically just not allowed to practice their religion for some bizarre reason. And yeah, basically Disney knew what the deal was in that particular film location, and they just covered up the fact that they knew what the deal was, and they just said that we just filmed it in some location in China, and that's hence why a lot of human rights groups, especially Chinese human rights groups, have already kicked off about it because they're just like, this is what's been happening, and you haven't told the world what's going on. So yeah, that's what the whole thing's about, basically, in a nutshell.
I think that from the stories that I read, it was the fact that they gave them thanks. If you go to the end of the film, the authorities that run these places were given thanks, and I think that's what caused the issue in the States. It was a different issue in China, because China, I heard about the stuff going on in the US, and they like to have stories what they're only described as positive energy stories, and being not that was kind of buried, so they were told not to talk about Mulan at all. So it kind of bollocks it up. And then there's the reviews on top of it where they turn around and says the main actress is like watching a fucking plank of wood. And it's like, okay. So it's a bad film on top of that. So you've got all the controversy and a bad film, and then you've got the US investigating if they're taking if companies are taking money from China and they're also taking money from the US. They want the money back that they've taken from the US, which is really a conversation for another time. But it's interesting considering the state of cinema at the moment. To bring it back to Tenet. Tenet I watched, and as I said, we'll talk about it later. Good film. And Chris Nolan was very keen on making sure that this film was, how can I put it, in the cinema, because as Keith said, it's designed for the cinema. Anyway, let's move on to the Dune trailer. And if I've done this right, I should have shared the audio. I'm just going to check to make sure that I've not got it in 60 frames a second. Actually, and we can watch this. So this is the Dune trailer as it spins out of control because it buffered for one. And then I changed it to 720, so it has to start all over again.
There's something happening to me. There's something awakening in my mind. I can't control it.
What did you see?
There's a crusade coming.
Do you often dream things that happen just as you dreamed them?
Yes.
The test is simple. Remove your hand from the box, and you die.
What's in the box?
Pain. You inherit too much power. You have proven you can rule yourself. Now you must learn to rule others. Something none of your ancestors learned.
My father rules an entire planet.
He's losing it.
He's getting a richer one.
You'll lose that one too. Arrakis is a death trap.
I'll kill them. This is an extermination. They're picking my family off one by one. Let's fight like demons.
An animal caught in a trap will gnaw off its own leg to escape. What will you do?
I know you.
One day, the legend will be born. All of civilization depends on it.
The future. I can see it. I must not fear. Fear is the mind killer.
My Lord Duke.
Where the fear is gone, only I will remain.
Go, go, go!
So that was the trailer for Dune. Right, I'm gonna make a geek conversion. I'm not big into Dune. It all seems to take place on one fucking planet, and it's really sandy and dusty. And you know, sand gets into places.
Have you
Yes.
have you read the book?
Phantom
Have you
yes,
read the
I've read
book?
the book.
I've not read the book.
I know
I'll be
you
honest
have.
with you.
Right. This is. I know you have, Dave, and I'm going to let you go before me. But I just wanted to ask, Gareth, had you seen? When you say you're not big into Dune, is it because you've only seen the film or the TV series rather than read the book? Because
I watched the David Cronenberg film.
yeah,
I watched a David Cronenberg film with Sting and Captain Picard. It just sounds really weird when you describe it like that, but there's Sting and Captain Picard in it, and I thought that was all right. And I can see where Dune has influenced a lot of things. So if you look at like the houses in Star Trek, the Klingon houses, and you look at the houses in B5 with like malaria and all that stuff, all comes out of Dune. Yeah, really simple.
I mean,
I know what the navigators are. I know what the spice does and this, that, and the other, and I know where they go all blue and the nomadic tribes and stuff of oh god, what's the name of the planet? Atreides? No, that's the character. Arrakis. Thank you.
Arrakis.
Yeah. So
I was gonna say I love the book. The book is brilliant. The films and the TV series, they've never got the look or the feel or anything right. I'll let Dave comment on this because I have my opinion of this trailer. But go on, Dave. You said you wanted to say a few things, so you go first.
Well, first of all, that trailer does look pretty awesome. So when I do go back to the cinema, I think Dune's going to be like one of the first movies that I'm probably going to see. I did read the book when I was younger. I'm talking about the original book, not just like the spin-offs like Children of Dune and like Dunes 2 and 3 and all that lot. I did take me ages to get through the first book. It did take me a while to get into it, but overall, when I did finally get to the end of it, it was a very good story. And I did watch the Dune movie the first Dune movie with Sting and Sean Young, and who was from what was it, that movie Blade Runner? That was it. And there was that guy Kyle MacLachlan, I think that's what his name was. That's it. Yeah, I watched it probably wasn't as good. It probably wasn't as good as the original book because the original book was just like it was so big, so they had to like cram quite a lot down for the movie. But they tried to make it as accurate to the book as possible. I've never watched the TV series, so I can't really comment on that. I'm afraid. I'll probably have to like YouTube clips of it or something.
The issue is that when that film was made, they just did not have a level of effects to do it justice, and they never covered up the faces. Face coverings is a big thing in Dune. Boom, Reverend Mother. In that trailer, face covered. That was like, they're going with this. This just looks from this trailer, feels that the director has seemed to have nailed that, or certainly nailed the way I feel when I read the story. And I mean, the fucking sandworms at the end, I was almost ecstatic with that. I was just like, oh yes, they're doing it.
I'll carry on next. I was going to interrupt you, but I'm not going to now.
I'm looking forward to this, and it has to be seen in the cinema. That if he's going as epic as I think he is, and certainly from this trailer, this is very much a cinematic movie, and it is very much something you have to see in the cinema. But I think this is going to be the first one of these ones where a bit like Peter Jackson with Lord of the Rings. As much as you can put that thing on film, I think this one's going to do it justice. There's critics out there of Lord of the Rings, but to me, those Peter Jackson films, the extended editions, do the books justice. And I think this is going to be another one of those cases. Just from that trailer. I might be wrong, but that trailer looked good. Okay,
my notes that I made from when I watched the trailer earlier were... You've got fucking Marissa Tomei. Is her name? What's her name? Is it the one?
Marissa Tomei.
The one that was in Spider-Man. Who played...
Marissa Tomei.
Milfy, aren't they? Milfy, aren't they?
No. Ah, fuck, I've got the wrong character down. The one who plays Mary Jane.
Zendaya. Zendaya, yeah.
Zendaya. No, please don't. No. All right. I know that the sand people should look a bit Arabic looking, given the environment and changes and stuff, but I just can't stand her. I'm sorry. She kind of ruins it. The shield tech from the David Cronenberg film, in comparison to this, where they looked like they were giant kind of block men fighting, if you remember, looks so much better.
Yes.
Because you can just see it's just like a nice little, like thin kind of membrane over the top of it. The spice worms look also cool. And also, all that effort just to get some peri-peri, it's just seems mad. Giant Galactic Empire based on peri-peri spice.
How long have you had that one written?
Since I watched the trailer. It's in the notes. It's clearly in the notes. I put it in there for you to see. But it does look good. I'm probably going to wait for someone more enthusiastic to watch it and persuade me to watch it, because I said I'm not into Dune. Maybe I need to read the books. I haven't got a Expanse novel to read this year because I already did. No, I didn't. No, there hasn't been one this year. So I might do the Dune novels and go through that. Just a quick one from Babster. He's off on his bike. But yes, the Dune looks freaking awesome. And he says Dune like I say Dune. He says Dune. Like it's why I say it is like I say June. So a bit mad there. Anyway, enough there because I've got a slight headache. Let's move on to our next story. This one is a bit of a two-parter. Bradley Cooper. Not Bradley Walsh. I was almost going to say Bradley Cooper has made some comments on the fact that Hollywood's award seasons are utterly meaningless and devoid of artistic creation, which will lead nicely into our next story. It's not like he sacrificed. He says made a comment about saying he's not like he sacrificed everything to create art and spend much time being part of that. And you're just lucky enough to be part of it. So he's kind of talking about from that. He says ultimately a great thing because it really makes makes face, ego, vanity, insecurity very interesting and utterly meaningless. What he's saying is it's all bollocks. It's more important to do the art and be in the art than it is. Now, I bring this story up because this is a lead into another story. Which I picked a nice quote from Kirstie Alley for this one, where she talks about how can I put it? Imagine telling Pablo Picasso that he has to. Pablo Picasso what has to be in his fucking paintings. Kirstie Alley hits out over Oscar new representation inclusion rules for Best Picture. I'm just gonna fucking hell. It's a lot of those adverts weren't there a moment ago. I'm just going to pull that up a bit more. It's funny because the Academy Award announced that they're going to have new diversity and inclusion standards, which is going to lead to great quality of films. Yeah, which I'm sure is going to be fucking terrible. The movie is to encourage in the higher class from black, female. I'd just like to point out, female is not an underrepresented thing at the moment. Yeah, how many bloody films have you seen with strong female protagonists or games with strong female protagonists in them? LGBTQ. Again, it's a bit rude to ask who someone sleeps with when they go for a job. Disabled people, because naturally you want a blind cinematographer and a deaf sound engineer to run your stuff. To address themes amongst those communities. The films will need to meet 2 of the 4 diversity inclusion standards to qualify. Cheers actress Kirstie Alley, 69, sexiest age, I'm afraid, has never been nominated for an Oscar, and she says that it's a bit Orwellian in regards to it. I love it. Tamara say this is the thing that always gets me. Other right-wing actors, you mean people who don't agree with you, have done it. So Superman's Dean Cain is Tamara goes probably bollocks. Ali. Black director Ava DuVernay, who is shit and a racist and a horrible person, replied with a gift of Denzel Washington slamming the door in someone's face. Denzel Washington is probably a quality actor and he probably doesn't give a shit about that, and he'd prefer that people got jobs based on their skill because that's what helped him along. The Oscars has been under fire for not having a diversity and stuff, and we can blame Jada Pinkett Smith for that. Stupid fucking cow. The long and short of it is the Oscars is dying. I don't think it will make it to 2024 when they put all these things in place. I think it'll turn into a stupid thing. It's weird. When you look at the Oscars, you need to think about your job, yeah? And you have like awards in your job. Best salesman, most money saved, project with the biggest impact, pleasing the customer, all those sort of things, yeah? Could you imagine how wanky it would be if you were to hold those work ceremonies like you do the Oscars? Yeah? Could you imagine that? And the thing that gets me too is that the people who get the awards and get to get seen on TV probably represent 10% of the entire film industry, because the ones that you don't get to see, the people doing the editing in the background, the people doing the special effects, the doing the sound engineering, the foliage work, the people on the fucking food truck, the people who put the grips down, who do the cabling and stuff like that, they don't get any kind of open, because they do get awards, but they don't get any open kind of recognition for the hard work that they do, especially like stuntmen. Yeah, there must be some stunt Oscars. I'd love to watch the stunt Oscars. Could you imagine the opening to the stunt Oscars? Yeah, it would be someone falling from the ceiling, smashing through the floor, and then climbing up and going, woo! Yeah, with flames as they do that. That would be awesome. Instead of that, we get wanky people telling us that we're all bad people for wanting to travel, even though they travel fucking loads, for wanting to own our own possessions, even though they have loads of possessions, for us wanting to be protected, even though they have their own private security, and us and telling us that we should be silenced, even though they won't shut the fuck up. These people are terrible people, and the COVID crisis, along with social media, has exposed them for being arseholes. And I think the best actors and actresses are the ones that keep their fucking mouth shut and just get on with it, because it's a job at the end of the day. And I think, going back to that Bradley Cooper thing, I think that he's a bit pissed off with it from that perspective too. Sorry, kind of went off on a bit of a rant then.
You've basically said what I think. I agree with you. Jada Pinkett Smith can fuck off, as can Will Smith to a certain extent. I mean, when this thing about her having an affair came out, and the way Smith just fuck off. The worst thing he ever did was marry that woman.
Sorry, to go back to that comment, yeah, right? You were sitting there going on about when his reaction and whatnot. Could you imagine? I would want to fuck her. What's that his reaction?
No, he's been all sort of new agey about it and stuff like that, and I've never liked.
Didn't he do the whole Friends thing where Ross was going, "We were on a break,"
Pretty much.
He was like, "Oh, we were on a break," but it's all fine now.
I think that the Will Smith is probably gone. I'm going to keep my gob shut because maybe I've been playing away from home as well. Who the fuck? He could pull pretty much any bird he wants. Yeah,
he's Will fucking Smith.
His age.
Yeah, maybe.
This whole I'm all for diversity in the workforce as long as they're the right person for the job. If I went for a role and they said to me, "What's your sexual orientation?" and I went, "I'm straight." Sorry, mate, you can't have this role because we're going to give it to the underqualified LGBT person instead, just for diversity reasons. But it shouldn't matter who I like to sleep with, because that doesn't affect what I do in the job. It doesn't.
Yeah, no, I would refuse to.
I'm going to go night on that one.
Sorry,
it doesn't. And also, same goes for the colour of my skin. It doesn't affect the quality of the job that I can perform. It doesn't. It shouldn't matter. It should never matter. And people who hire based on colour or who you sleep with, they're the worst type of people. It goes both ways.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right on that.
If someone's hiring me over someone who is of colour because of my colour of skin, that's wrong, and vice versa.
Yeah.
It works both ways. I'm totally against this whole Oscar thing because it smacks of diversity for diversity's sake. You're just hire that person because you need to tick a box, not because they're the best person for the job. If they're the best person for the job, crack on. I just don't get this forced. If you do not hire these people, you will not get a slot in the Oscars. I know a lot of these people who make films, they're not so bothered about the Oscars. They will just want to make a great film. If it happens to get nominated, fantastic. If you happen to win, amazing. But I don't think they do it for that.
Yeah.
I think you'll see the decline of the Oscars.
It's been declining for years, mate.
It has.
People don't give a shit. People do not give a shit about it. And it's weird because if you get the story and you flip it around, and you just look at it from the other side, if you're a black actor and you've just been hired to tick a box, that's fucking insulting. That's like hugely insulting. I find that I find that more offensive. That we hired you because we wanted to tick a fucking box. That's the bit that gets me. And then
we're aiming for an Oscar this year, so we need to tick a box.
Yeah, imagine this. Yeah, you're doing a World War One story like 1917. Yeah, 1917 won't qualify for an Oscar because how many fucking black people in 1917? Because there weren't many. But if you were to do the story of if you were to do Zulu, which people would find massively offensive today, you'd tick the fuck one of those boxes.
Stop chucking those bloody spears at me.
Yeah. I find it amazing that they do this. I think that it's got out of hand now. It's got to the point that it's ridiculous. It's got to the point that it looks like a parody. It looks like they're going to cannibalize themselves. And given the fact that we've been watching these people slowly fucking degrade over the last couple of months with COVID again, when we went back to our first story with the cinema and whatnot, we can see that these people aren't nice. And it's strange how they talk about diversity, but they all seem to think the same. That's not very diverse now, is it?
I mean, look, it's been happening in the BBC for a while. I mean, you look at the Christmas Carol adaptation at last Christmas, and Tiny Tim's mum was played by that really annoying copper from Sherlock, but she was black. Yeah, because we have to have diversity in historical dramas. Apparently, it's ridiculous. We are now overwriting history because we'd rather have diversity than history. These people. I mean, my opinions on the BBC. I think the BBC is dead, and I think it should die. I think it's been infected to the core by leftist, ultra left people. That it does not follow its own fucking charter. It is not. It is not
impartial.
What's the word? No,
impartial.
It hasn't been impartial for years, and therefore, to me, the BBC. I used to be a staunch defender of it, but in recent years, you got the head of their drama going that wokeness is what was it he said? Wokeness was his I can't remember, something along the lines of that. You have to be woke and blah blah blah, and it's morally correct and blah blah blah. Just fuck off. That's why you make shit like the new Doctor Who, and whereas the only fucking good thing in Doctor Who is a man who should be the Doctor.
All right, just a point to make that I describe this kind of as like a mental pathogen that's kind of infected people, and it kind of takes hold of people, and you just watch people have, instead of having the explain or I'm sorry, what was that kind of reaction, they have this kind of they turn into the fucking Hulk. They become emotionally incontinent, and it's terrible. Anyway, time to move on to some TV stuff, and I've got a funny story. Well, I think it's quite funny. So, we're getting a RoboCop TV series like we had in the 90s. Well, not like we had in the 90s. We're getting a RoboCop TV series without RoboCop.
It's RoboCop, not RoboCop.
Not
That's
RoboCop,
kind
the TV
of
series.
like ordering a Hawaiian pizza without the pineapple. It's just gonna be like ham and cheese on its own, and that's it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway,
That's a good pizza.
Well,
Pineapple on the pizza is
Okay.
evil.
right.
Okay, I'll disagree. I'll agree to disagree with you, Keith.
Okay, so
I think it's like ordering a Hawaiian pizza, but only getting a bit of pineapple and ham.
just the toppings.
Just the toppings.
Just the toppings, no pizza.
It's no longer a pizza.
It's just it's toppings in a plastic box. All right, Ed Neumeyer is the creative head on this, and I think that Ed Neumeyer worked on the first RoboCop, if I remember correctly. And he's been putting this project in the pipeline with MGM for a while. Apparently, it follows Dick Jones, the fun, shall we say, head of OCP New Concepts, or vice president. He was played by Ronnie Cox in the first one, and when he died, he had massively long arms, if I remember correctly. Dick Jones is it's funny because the guy Ronnie Cox, a friend met him, and he said he was one of the nicest people he's ever met. And even though he plays arseholes in everything, if you watch him like in Stargate, in RoboCop, and I'm sure there's another film that he's been an arsehole in. Oh, Total Recall, he played the arsehole in Cohagen. So you kind of follow that, and the idea is to look at the state of how business, tech, law, and Silicon Valley kind of run amok. I find that really weird because that sounds like now. As lawyers do stupid things, as Twitter puts on banning things and Facebook puts on banning things, and then they keep moving forward with certain technologies and this, that, and the other, and not really thinking anything through and just doing what they fucking want to. It sounds very much like real life. So it's probably got a lot of fucking source material there now I think about it.
Possibly. It's not something I'm interested in.
Yeah,
I go on.
It'd be interesting to see how it turns out. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, RoboCop TV prequel series without actual RoboCop is a bit like, and it's going to have, and it's also going to have like a robot like prototype RoboCop thing, maybe, possibly.
It made me think of Smallville.
Possibly, yeah.
Superman. Sorry about Superman.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Have Alex Murphy in it.
But he was following Superman, Clark Kent, from learning all his stuff all the way through, weren't you? In this one, how can you possibly do that without RoboCop? Because it's not him learning his abilities, is it? He fucking gets killed and turned into RoboCop in the next scene. He was the prototype as well, wasn't he? First of his kind, sort of thing.
No, they did. There were other prototypes. There were other
maybe it'll follow them doing that.
Yeah,
prototype.
But I just found it really interesting that someone had proposed a RoboCop TV series without RoboCop. That's just when you sit there and describe it to me, go, you what? So you want to do? You want us to spend $10 million an episode? That turns into about 220 for an entire series, and you're not going to have RoboCop in it. I'm going to sign that one off.
Yeah,
is that much like Gotham?
It's ironic because I think the guy actually worked on Gotham.
Well, Gotham actually worked because it was meant to be like a origin story of all the supervillains, like the Penguin and Riddler and Scarecrow, and they even put like the origin story of Bane in it as well. And they did Catwoman, that goes without saying, but they did like Bruce Wayne as a child and like Jim Gordon before he became like the police commissioner. Yeah. So it was like that worked because it had a lot of the Batman characters in it. So that's the reason why Gotham did so well.
If it makes it, I think there might be something of interest in there, because it would have to do something interesting in order to be good.
You've named two series there, Smallville and Gotham, both of which have a large number of supporting characters. RoboCop has RoboCop.
It's got RoboCop. It's got Dick Jones. It's got Clarence Bodicker. It's got,
but those characters are not interesting without RoboCop. Whereas the Riddler, the Penguin origin stories and things, they're interesting without Batman because they're such eccentric characters. You know, Smallville worked because you already had that kind of predefined stuff.
And Lana Lang.
RoboCop without RoboCop.
You're wrong, and you're a grotesquely ugly freak.
Lana Lang was not as cool as fucking What's-a-Mush.
Didn't matter about her being cool.
She wasn't.
No,
she should have died of concussion years ago.
Gareth, she was hotter. You're out.
No, she wasn't. She was much.
Yes, she was. Yeah,
trust me. No. Anyway, it doesn't matter now because she almost got arrested for being part of a sex cult.
No, that's Chloe.
No. If you read the entire story, they started together, but she backed out.
I think she found out what the thing was and went, "Oh, I'm not a part of that, thank you."
But Christine Currit can't act. If you've got this,
I didn't care about her acting.
I'm sorry. Yeah, and I'm with Nige. Who cares if she can act?
That's reserved for browsers,
It
mate.
just boggled my mind that Clark Kent couldn't see how fit she was for
He
so
could see
long.
how fit she was. He'd be like in the barn with his fucking supervision going, oh, come on, X-ray vision, work. Season 2 for X-ray vision. Fuck off, I'll wait.
I'll just partially levitate for now.
Yeah.
In my sleep.
So, anyway, I thought that was interesting. Let's move on to something a bit more fun, shall we say? Something which I describe as being astonishingly average. The Mandalorian Season 2 release date has been announced. And it is the 30th of October.
Cool.
And I still need to watch the first series.
You still haven't watched the first one? Oh, fuck. Yeah, you haven't, have you?
I've still got one episode to watch.
I need to buy them on Netflix, or not on Netflix, on on my Amazon Fire Stick. I still need to do that. I haven't got around to it.
Can't you do a week trial on Disney Plus and just binge it and then cancel?
I probably could, but it probably would make a lot more sense if I actually bought the things, because I'm probably going to watch them again anyway. Because everyone's like keeps banging on about how the Mandalorian's like really good. It was probably a lot better than The Last Jedi anyway. I'll give
I don't think I describe it as spectacularly average. They're just doing everything they can not to put a foot wrong. They haven't done anything
is
wrong.
better than The Last Jedi.
Yeah, even
literally anything.
Yeah,
I had
even
a colonoscopy and watched that, and that was better than The Last
Jedi. Even Phantom Menace was better than The Last Jedi, Keith. And the Phantom Menace had a lot of issues with that film, but overall it was an alright film.
Yep, no,
Anyway.
I agree with you on that one.
It's time to move on to gaming. So, finally, after fucking months, Microsoft Xbox fucking blinks and reveals their price. They've started off by having a company called I can't remember something beginning with a TH leaked their Xbox X series and price online, which looked good. And me and Nigel had a chat about that. And then they went, fuck it. And then they eventually released the Xbox X series price and bits online, which was good because we've been waiting around for this. ages. So they tweeted that the new machine will cost, and this is the Xbox X series, not the S series, which is the more powerful one with the disk drive, will cost £449 in the UK, €500 in Europe, and $499 in the States. After the tech giant did it, so they did it after they said about their Xbox X S series, which is the smaller cut down version. And it's weird because it's a cut down version also in power too. So it's designed for people who've only got 1080p TVs, and it's roughly the same power as a PS4 Pro, but it's designed for 1080p TV. So it's like the bedroom console rather than the living room console, which makes sense. Which is now priced at $250. On top of that, you get a subscription for the Xbox. This is the S series. You get a subscription for the Xbox Games Pass Ultimate Edition, and they're throwing in a year's worth of EA subscription to that too, which is fantastic. So we're like kind of Sony. Me and Nigel, I think we're talking about this. I was expecting Friday for something to come out, so they would have like a weekend to digest, and then stock markets could do their things on Monday morning, but they didn't. Which is good. So let's start with the first thing you talked about. Did you guys talk about the S series last week?
Not
we didn't talk about it last week. We talked about it a few weeks ago, and you were like, I was saying it's rumored to be cheap. It's going to be expensive. You said it's going to be really, really
hang on a
expensive.
second.
250 quid.
I was expecting it to be the same power as the Xbox X series, and it's not. It's a third, roughly.
Right. I was expecting similar to what Sony are doing. A discless version being a bit cheaper, same spec and everything like that. It's not. They've downgraded pretty much everything on it.
Yeah, but I think this could be quite a clever move because, Gareth, for instance, is a guy that plays a lot on his PlayStation, but there is an occasion when he wants to play the odd Xbox game. Now, for somebody who wants to go out and buy a PS5 and doesn't want to then have to go out and pay 450 quid for the Xbox X series because they want to play the odd Xbox game that comes out, I think the Xbox X is a clever thing. 250 quid for a console. You're not really going to think twice. Well, yeah.
Hang on.
You're wrong, and you're a grotesquely ugly freak.
I need to get some more of them.
If you're the person that mainly focuses on PS5, but you want that Xbox, I think this is a good option. I do.
For me, I'm looking to get the PS5 to replace my ailing PS4 because of the fucking fans. Then a few other people I've spoken to have got PS4s, and they were saying, "I need a PS5. My PS4 fans are fucking ridiculous." It's like, no, the feeling. So I'm waiting for that.
Are these people that you've paid so that you can then show your wife these messages? Go, look, darling, look.
No, she sat in the front room going, "Can you shut it up?" I was like, "Mate, I can't tell the fan to shut up. Sorry, I have to. In order for me to play a game at night, I have to wear headphones so I can hear the game sound. Otherwise, I have to turn it up too loud and wake the kids up." So it's ridiculous. So I'm waiting for that. But what I've got some Xbox games which I want to play because of the backwards compatibility. And I was hoping that they do the slightly cheaper console but with a disc drive. Then I could go, oh yeah, cool. Pop in my Knights of the Old Republic disc like I did over at Gareth's, and it goes, oh, so you got that game. I'll just download that for you. And you get to play it free of charge. With this cheaper console, this 250 version, I can't do that. I can't do it. I've got the discs, but I can't do that. I'd have to buy myself an Xbox One or an Xbox One S and play it through that instead. And they've discontinued them. So
on another note, Nige, there's also rumours that are supposed to be bringing out. Don't laugh. All right, I don't know how true this is. This is why it's not in the show notes. An Xbox V series. Yeah, an Xbox V series, which is supposed
I heard that
to be.
rumor.
You heard the rumor too. I have no idea how true
it. Is it going to be pink?
It's meant to be.
No, it's not the Xbox version. It's the Xbox X Series Digital or V. I want to shoot the fucking Microsoft marketing department for coming up with shit names. PS4, PS3, Xbox One, Xbox 2, Xbox 3. Simple. Fucking sort it out.
Yeah.
All right? Makes life a lot easier for everyone involved.
Xbox One digital. Fucking Xbox One. Whatever.
Yeah. But there's rumours that's coming out too.
Yeah, it's meant to be a halfway in power between the X coming out and the S coming out. That's what I heard.
No, the V is supposed to be exactly the same as the Xbox. This is what I read, right? It's supposed to be exactly the same as the Xbox X. It's the same form factor minus the disc drive.
Mm.
That's why. This is why it's a rumor. This is why
again for me, it's not appealing.
Yeah,
because of the reason I told you, I'd want it. I've got some Xbox original games which I want to just go. I've got the disc because they allow you to do that, and now they're sort of like getting rid of a disc drive.
I think the lack of power on it is something that's going to piss people off in the long run. I think
lack of power disturbs me.
It's going to be the equivalent of the PS3 20 gig one with no Wi-Fi that came out. Which nobody fucking bought with no backwards.
Yeah, the digital only version, the S, has half the size of disc drive than the X.
It should be double the size of the X.
Half the size. It's digital only.
Stupid mistake that I did there.
Not only does their naming convention boggle my mind, so does that.
Yes, it does. Okay, so they did that. And we waited for Sony, and Sony went, well, we're going to make a big fanfare because we've been waiting for Microsoft to tell us the price so we can undercut them the moment they come out. And we've been working out how much to undercut them by. Because it's a game that Sony always fucking plays, and they've played it for generations. I think the only generation that didn't play it was with the PS3, and that's why it failed. So they're now like going, oh, okay, so PS5 showcase 16th of September. Pre-orders will be available straight away after if they've done their work right, and the price will be available. And I find it really quite obnoxious on behalf of a consumer who probably wants to buy one of these two. He hasn't made his mind up yet. Obnoxious on behalf of a consumer to turn around and say, hey, we're not going to tell you the price, and we're not going to tell you the date it's coming out. And it's like, dude, given the state of everything, I kind of want to put some money aside. Yeah, because all my money aside at the moment is going into buying new microphones.
But this being a Sony event, they'll only give you half of the thing. So they'll tell you they'll give you the dates coming out, but not the price. Because you know, Sony, or they give you the price, or not the date that it's coming out. Because they never give you. They never just like, we have this massive event, Sony, and we show you the controller.
They'll probably do like the pre-orders are available now. You haven't told us the price.
No, they've never done that with PlayStation, though. I mean, I think every single PlayStation's coming out. You have to register in order to pre-order, and then you get chosen.
But we could have done this back in like kind of beginning of September on like generations. So,
well, I mean, I remember the PS2 registration thing. That was an old fucking rigmarole. I got one of those limited edition books because I pre-ordered the thing. If you remember, didn't you pre-order one as well? Was it just me?
Just you. I just went out and bought one. Yeah. I literally walked into game and went,
a few weeks later.
No, I did it on that weekend, and I did it with the PS4 on the weekend too. The only one that didn't do it was the PS3. That's because I was getting married at the time, so everything was a little busy.
That's a good excuse.
I didn't get a PS3 when it came out. My mate did, and cool. I think he bought it for 530 quid or whatever at the time. Rip off. I got a 360. Xbox 360, which turns out was a bit crap. Because it didn't have Wi-Fi or anything.
Wi-Fi and hard drive space.
Yeah.
Hang on, right? That's a good point, Nige. You point this out. Does the Xbox X come like with Wi-Fi and or is that 450 quid just a console? But if you want to actually, use the controller, you have to get a battery pack with it. If you actually want to charge that, that's another extra 20 fucking quid. Oh, if you want to, play the games, that's going to be another 50 quid, just so that you can actually put a fucking game in it. Because that's the way Xbox sells. It's never just a fucking console, is it? You have to buy all these bloody things.
Now they're going to be selling you NVMe hard drive extensions. That's what it's going to be. Seriously, that's what it's going to be.
I've seen a picture of it.
Sony was like, you can buy any off-the-shelf one and just pop it inside the console. And you go, oh, congratulations. And all they do is to test the ones to make sure that they're compatible. The Microsoft ones, you only can buy their stuff, and it'll be 50 quid more than it should be. And that's where they're looking to make that extra bit of money from.
They've shown on their website, on Xbox website, you can see the little, it looks like a little bit like a cartridge, and they've got pictures of it. The extension hard drive that plugs into the back. MV. Okay,
Better solid state.
And they've got pictures of it going, you can extend your hard drive because we're only giving you a gig, So you're only getting 1 terabyte now, which is what we got in last gen. Considering how big some of these games are getting, Modern Warfare, looking at you, and Battlefront.
Hang on a second, Nige. With the new drive technology, this is the thing, you should listen to Mark Cerny. With the new drive technology, what you see is they used Spider-Man as an example. The bins in New York in Spider-Man and the post boxes in Spider-Man are just one asset, but they are duplicated about 100 and something times in game because of the load speeds. Now, when you remove the load speeds from that, you only need one. So you've reduced those duplications down to a single one. So the games should be less. But the funny thing is, I think they'll only be less on the PS5 for the first 2 years until Xbox pull the finger out and start working on exclusives. So, yeah, I think you're right in terms, but I think that there's some other things we need to take into account. And it's the speed of the hard drive. Of how much data this thing can push through now. It's really fucking broad, and it was the developer's biggest gripe when it came to putting games together. And it's weird to think that PCs, when you now look for PC specs, you'll be looking at the speed of hard drive to go along with the graphics card, the RAM, and the processor. It's going to be quite mad. And that's because of consoles. And I know the PC think that they always do the PC master race thing. Consoles drive the changes. Yeah. When you have these console leaps, yeah, PC will be a bit put out for a year. Yeah. And then after that, then they'll come back in and everything will be fine. It'll be a year. It'll be the space of 12 to 18 months, which is always funny.
I was a little concerned when they did release the specs for the PS5, considering it's a smaller. It's not even 1 terabyte, and then it's because it's not even 1 terabyte, and then it's got to have the OS on it, so it reduces it even further. You're gonna be probably 650.
No, I don't think it's. I think that the OS is probably about 6 gig. Sorry, 6 meg. It's 6 meg. Fucking got it right down there, boys. 6 gig. I think.
Be interesting to see what they do, and how much is actually usable out of the what is it, 825 or 850 or something?
856, I think it is.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how much of that is actually usable by the users for saving stuff.
And here's the cherry on top before we move on to the next section. Another rumor: Phil Spencer has been told by the head of Microsoft that he has the permission to slash the price on the Xbox X Series to a loss. So at the moment, I imagine they've got it in there and they've got some kind of profit margin in there. Yeah, and then they're going to wait for Sony to do their thing, and then they're going to slash it.
Yeah, exactly.
Because Sony play that fucking game, so now Microsoft are going to play it. And
Microsoft are playing a game. They knew that's what Sony were waiting to do, so they've gone, we'll put this price out, see what they do, and go, aha! Here's a better deal.
Yeah.
And you touched on it right at the start when you mentioned this. You've got what seems to be a very good deal where you can pay monthly. So instead of having an original outlay, you've got, I think it's £28 a month for 2 years. Yeah. And that pays off the console
and
in total. Plus the Games Pass for 2 years, and also that includes EA Access for 2 years. After you've paid off the console, that figure shrinks right down to only the amount for the Game Pass and EA Access. I understand it that way.
For the Xbox X,
for the
S series, not
and the X and the X.
It's both.
Given the state of the world at the moment.
Yeah, so the S is much cheaper. It's about 23 maybe a month, but obviously it pays off after 2 years. So you can get one for only £28 a month, and that's really affordable. Actually, that's a very smart move on. And for me, I'm sitting there looking at it, going,
I could do this.
I could get the PS5 and grab myself a deal every month. Yes. And I can get one with this drive, so I can use my old CDs that I've got that allow me to play the backwards games. I mean, I think that's cracking.
I do think that's cracking. And I think that's where we'll leave it because that's quite a nice positive note. So let's move on to the reviews. So the first review, Tenet. I watched Tenet in the cinema last weekend. It's good.
And that concludes the review.
Okay,
I haven't seen that movie yet. So
and now, in the scene of Tenet, are you going to rewind that bit and then go?
Yeah, I'm going to rewind
the thing, and then it's forward.
Temporal pincer. All right,
I'm already completely confused.
So the first thing that got me about Tenet was I like Chris Nolan. But Chris Nolan doesn't understand sci-fi as well as you fucking think he does. And I know this because me and Keith had a fucking big old Barney over WhatsApp on Monday.
Do you know what? You did that in the group, and I opened it and went, oh, I've got loads of messages. I opened it and went, I don't have a clue what the fuck you're talking about. Closed it. Just skipped to the end and closed it. I didn't even read it because it would skip right over my head.
So yeah,
we were having an argument because Gareth says that it's just time travel, and I said it's not conventional time. It's not conventional time travel.
Shit, time travel. Let me describe it to you. Right, Michael Jackson invented the moonwalk. Okay? Richard O'Brien invented the time warp. Chris Nolan has invented the time walk. Imagine, that most time you do time travel, it's like getting in a car and going from one place to another. Okay? So it doesn't take too long. Yeah? Now imagine going to the same destination, but walking. That's what he fucking did. It's all about time travel. As soon as you put the bootstrap paradox in there, everything works and everything makes sense. And there's so many little fucking hints that they're doing that all the way through. But because of the way time travel works in it, and they use a thing called inversion, which causes you to travel slowly backwards at the same space that you'd be traveling forwards. And if you can move in either direction on one plane, it's time travel, I'm afraid. Okay. It's just, I find it really weird because it's like kind of, oh no, it's not time. Yes, it fucking is, Chris, mate. It's time travel. That's how everything works in this film. It explains everything in this film. It's just shit, slow time travel. It's got some good bits in there, and it's one of those things. As soon as they revealed the turnstile and they realized that you could invert a person, I was waiting for them at the beginning when they explained the inversion bit with a gun to turn around and say, how do you invert a person? Because I thought maybe you had to breathe it in like a fucking gas or something because of the masks and shit on it. But no, they have these things called turnstiles, and you need breathing things in there because it needs to suck the oxygen out of your body and put carbon dioxide because you're going backwards. It had some really cool sequences in there. Production-wise, but lazy because you get to film the same car chase twice using the same props, so you can save some money. $205 million to make. Apparently, I think Chris Nolan might have lined his pockets with this one.
No. He did crash a 747 into a building, and that wasn't some model effect. That was a practical effect. There's your 200 million. Oh, what do you need, Chris? I need a 747. Oh, we can build you a model. No, I want a 747 and I want to crash it into a building. You can do that in a model, Chris. We're really good at these days. We can even do it in CGI. No. I want a real 747 and I want to crash it into a building. Can you just imagine the fucking head of the studio? Chris, we can do it in CGI and it looks real. Nope.
Very strange.
I don't want to sound rude or anything. It probably is cheaper to get an old, especially if you don't need the engines working on the fucking thing. It just needs to be towed. It's probably cheaper to get a decommissioned 747, just run it along the ground, and smash into a building. I did love the way that what was his face, Robert Pattinson, just described it. It was like, crash a building, not from the air. That's disgusting. We wouldn't do anything like that. No, do it from the ground. It's a lot more civil that way. But as you were, kind of going on, there's a place called Davis Monthan in the States, and my dad is obsessed with it. It's a place where they store a ton of aircraft. Pick one of them. This is a real place, and they're real aircraft, just sitting in the desert, collecting dust. So it may be cheaper just to pluck one of them out and say, right, we'll transport it over to thingy. They'll just probably have to cut the wings off and pop it on a lorry. But I reckon that probably was cheaper. That's a terrible.
That's a lot of planes.
That is a lot. That's just one section.
I gathered that. Yeah, it's like a continuous shot. A continuous
F6.
shot. Yeah.
There are planes from all over the world that are being stored at this facility. If an alien invasion broke out and we needed aircraft to fight the aliens, that's where the four of us are going. Right? It'll take a while to get there, but that's where the four of us are.
Presumably, because I personally don't know how to fly, but okay, I could be a co-pilot.
Keith's a wizard with flight sim, all right?
Okay, fine. I'll just pick up as I go along then.
I've flown it. I've had one lesson in a Cessna. We'll be fine.
Teach you how to fly it, not how to land it.
No, I don't know how to take off.
I've done all the fucking things.
I don't know how to take off, don't know how to land, but I can do it while we're in the air. It's fine.
Okay, we'll just, like I said, we'll just pick up as we go along. If all else fails, we could just eject. And as long as we eject, as long as we know where the eject button is, that's fine.
Just wear your parachutes at all times throughout the flight. You'll feel safe.
Yeah, and a crash out there.
Okay, going back to Tenet. The story, it was when I went going back to the turnstile thing. As soon as I saw the turnstile thing, I knew exactly where the fucking story was going and how it was going and what has happened and who the guy was that he fought in the Swiss gallery storage area was. I just saw that and I was like, oh fuck, now I know. And then it was, I didn't twig with the woman though. That was the bit that got me. I didn't twig with the woman until the end because I wasn't fucking paying attention. I should have been paying attention. I would have got that. But there's a bit with a woman where the wife of this Russian gangster thinks that she's having an affair with him. Yeah. But she wasn't. She was there. She was there to bump him off. And the bit where he falls down the side. Did you think the bit where they drop him off the side of the boat and he hits the fucking decks as he comes down was hilarious? I saw that. It was so string too. It was like donk, 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 undignified. Donk, donk, donk. I thought that was brilliant because that felt a bit real. So that was good. The fight at the end was the biggest bollocks of the entire film. But they're having the fight. In the
well, that's the whole reason why the film's called Tenet. You know, it's the title is that final fight at the end, the battle at the end.
How does that relate to a Tenet?
That's what they call Tenet because it was a 10-minute battle, and it's fought in forward and reverse, and Tenet is force and reverse, and they even say it at the end that Tenet references that battle.
Okay. And the other part that I found really stupid is the algorithm. Now, I make algorithms as part of my job. You can't take it apart and put it at the bottom of a thing. It's conceptual. It's a machine for processing numbers, like a lever or a stick. I just blew my mind with that. It was like, no. One thing, Aaron Taylor Johnson, the guy who played the English fellow in it, his English accent was almost perfect, but he fucked it up during the briefing. Because I was watching him, I go, he's American, but he's fucking convincing. And he got to the briefing, and he got into an argument with him, and his voice just went, just enough for me to go, fucking American. Really good job, though. Seriously, it was a really good job. His accent was...
It was one of the best Americans I've heard doing an English accent.
Yeah, it was. It was.
I mean, it's pretty good. I mean, Robert Downey Jr.'s English accent is pretty good, as is Gillian Anderson's, actually. But that's because she's been living here for fucking years, Gillian Anderson. That's why. I upset you when you sent that picture of Gillian Anderson the other day. You're going, oh, she's still hot. She's playing Maggie Thatcher in Series 4 of The Crown.
Just like to point out that, do you like soft scoop ice cream and bread that lasts long? Because Margaret Thatcher is responsible for all of that stuff. So if Gillian Anderson's playing her,
we'll have to tune in.
What I find funny is the Americans have got an aircraft carrier named after Margaret Thatcher, but they didn't call it the Iron Lady, which is a trick they fucking missed. Because they could have called it the Iron Lady, which would have been a much cooler name for a fucking aircraft carrier. And then you could go, why is it called the Iron Lady? And it's because it called after Margaret Thatcher because he was referred to as the Iron Lady during the Cold War and stuff that she did with Reagan. Anywho, let's move on to the boys now. As I said before, the boys are how I refer to my testicles. So if the wife says, how are the boys doing? I go, they're doing fine. I haven't crushed them or sat down too quickly. So, boys, did you watch it, Nige?
I haven't seen episode 4 yet.
Ah, Nige.
I know I was ahead of Keith.
And normalcy has resumed. I have seen episode 4.
I haven't watched a single episode yet. There's so much stuff I'm going to have to watch, catch up on just for the sake of this podcast now.
Yes, we'll have to.
We're possibly going to have a disagreement here because I thought episode 4 was probably one of the weaker episodes because it just didn't have the usual comedic funniness that the boys is really associated with, and I didn't find it very funny.
Okay, that's the thing. Probably the butcher story is going off in a different direction than it is from the comics.
Yes.
Saying it's kind of going off. I think it's indicating that it's going to go off with Homeland Stormfront Part 2. So let's go on the first thing. So Huey, Mother's Milk, and Starlight, I can't remember the character's proper name, head off to investigate a page from a magazine that says that a character called Liberty is still alive or whatever. So they go and investigate, and they have a nice kind of like road trip kind of moment. And there's a bit where they're singing. What were they singing in the car? We didn't start the fire. And they're singing together, and it's quite fun. And then you got Mother's Milk, and he's like, "Fucking knock that shit off! We're trying to do something serious here." So that was quite good with the entertainment and stuff for that. And then they found out that this Liberty character looks like they could be the Stormfront character. And then when you had all the creepy mum stuff with Homelander and I can't remember her name now. Who was the name of the woman that was in charge that he killed off at the end of the first series?
Yeah, I know who you mean.
I know who you mean. I've forgotten her name.
7 before Gus Fring got in charge of the 7. That's what we'll say. And he's got her locked up, and he's having that seriously weird relationship with Doppelganger, because Doppelganger's pretending to be her.
Okay, I will give you that bit where he loses his shape. That is quite funny. That and sick and a bit disgusting and disturbing.
A bit with Homelander. And Homelander's freaked the fuck out. I'm freaked out too. It was like, no, I'm going to go and fly off the other side.
One minute you've got Elizabeth Shue's boobies, and then the next minute you've got me. That would freak me out too.
That was interesting with that. But they find out the lamplights. I think that their twist that they're going to do with Stormfront is, because the Stormfront is a lot older than she appears to be, I think she's Homelander's mother. I think she was the first soup to give birth. And I think that's the twist. And this is the twist. Hang on a second. This is the fucked up bit. Because we've seen them. She goes to the bit in the trailer where she goes, laser my tits. They're going to be having a relationship, yeah? That's because the long and short of it is Homelander's going to go over the fucking edge at one point and try and take over, be the president of the United States. Yeah, all right, we know this is the story. So that would contribute quite well to him going absolutely fucking batshit insane.
Do you think they're going to do that this season though? Do you think they're actually going to do the full Homelander arc this season?
I think it's going to get to it's going to be a push, but towards the end of the season. But they're not going that far yet, because you
don't think we're going to get Black. Do you think like the end of season 2 is Black Noir pulling off the mask?
No. Black Noir is saved for where he takes over the presidency. You don't know until then. That's when it happened. But it was. I found it interesting. It made me want to watch more, which is a good thing.
It did. I just felt that it was. There was a lot of sort of plot points in this episode and story in this episode, but it just didn't have the same comedic sort of comedy edge. And I think that's because Butcher was like, having a sort of serious sort of story. There were moments in it, and it was, it's still good. But bearing in mind, we've got 4 more episodes. I would like to see some more sort of comedic side of stuff. But I wonder whether it's going with the deep and the church stuff.
It feels very Scientology.
Yes, it was. It was all right. Diggers.
And the bit where that bird at the end, he goes, "It's her. It's her." I would have done exactly the same. Where she's like,
I would have.
I'll do anything to keep my man happy in a relationship.
Show me a straight, red-blooded male that wouldn't have got the same thing when a bird's literally going.
I don't know who the woman from the church is, but she is. I find her really fucking creepy.
She was Breaking Bad. She was in Breaking Bad, wasn't she? She was the wife of the Walt's sort of partner.
I was thinking more of Wayward Pines. I'm sure she was in Wayward Pines.
Yeah, but she was in Breaking Bad. She was Walt's partner's wife.
Okay.
The dodgy sort, the one that became rich. Yes,
I think she was Greta. I'm sure Greta was better looking.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to fucking Google that now. So yeah, it was good. I really appreciate it. It felt more TV series because of the way they've set it up.
Yeah, that's true.
kind of appreciate that a bit more because you kind of get those when you have like I'm thinking about Daredevil and all those Netflix series for the Marvel characters. You did have those really poor episodes that would have worked better if what do you call it? If they wouldn't have worked. Sorry, they wouldn't have worked if they would have been a TV series. You'd have got fucked off and you'd have lost viewers. But because it was on the binge model, you kind of got away with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's interesting. So I'm just gonna have a quick look to see if it was Greta. I'm sure it's Sudden Greta. Control. Quick check, Jessica. Yep, you're right. It was her. Still creepy as fuck, I think.
Yes, she's much more creepier in the boys. Yeah,
much creepier. All right. So it's time to go to our my favorite section of the show. I love stories like this. Dad keeps son's Saki birthday card for 28 years and uses it for hilarious revenge. Son shared a brilliant birthday card that he was given by his dad, which just happens to be the one he happened to be sent with a swift dose of karma. I send funny birthday cards to people. Sometimes, if you get a birthday card from me, it might have, how can I put it, the wrong age on it. Spider-Man pin on it. So it came to the thingy, and what it was is, I'm going to wait for the tweet to load. What it was when this dad turned 42, his son sent him a birthday card. And if I can open it up, so we can see in detail. So I have to go to Twitter, I'm afraid.
No, don't do it.
Yes, do it. Sorry, I go to Twitter. I know it's brain cancer. Here we go. So, Rob Witz. So, look, hey everybody, he's 42, of course. This is what he got in response. I guess if you wait long enough, what goes around comes around. So he held on to his 42nd birthday card.
He's crossed out the name. Oh, that's fantastic! What a brilliant idea!
I love those stories where someone's like, kind of just, I just waited and it paid off in
28 years to seek revenge. Brilliant. God, that's quite sarky for a young kid. I mean, how old was he? What, 14?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. You see, if Dave had been here last week, we had the perfect Dave what the fuck story. Where were you last week, Dave? I mean, seriously. I found a what the fuck story that was tailored for you.
Really? I'm gonna have to watch your video. Just scroll to the very end and find that video now.
It was perfectly tailored for you, wasn't it, Nige?
It wasn't the spider that bites you and gives you a painful erection, you die.
No, it was the man whose wife asked him to go and buy a garden gnome and came back with something a bit more terrifying.
Oh, yes. Right, I've got a few ideas what that might be.
Can't have a wait.
Yeah, I'm definitely. Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah, I've got the gist of it now. I've got a gist of it. Yeah, definitely. Well, at least you thought
worth watching.
It sounds like this person really thought outside the box. It's like he was like, no,
it's worth watching.
Okay, I will look at it.
It was very funny.
It's literally the height of shithousery.
Okay, well, the reason I wasn't around last week is because I had family issues. Well, family outing last week. Mate. Yeah, it's all right. It's fine. No, it wasn't anything. I know there's there's a lot of stuff going on in my family at the moment, but it's fine. It wasn't too bad. It was all right.
Fair enough, mate. Right.
Just
that's it, isn't it?
Hang on. No, I just hang on.
Have you got it?
And then we'll close it down with.
Oh, I see. That's what it was. Well, that looks pretty. If I had a garden, no matter how big or small, I would probably buy something like that. I'll probably get like a Triceratops one as well, just for the full effect.
Show Dave what he had to do to get it into the garden.
Yeah.
I
thought it was a big setting.
Oh my word!
Fucking great.
Jesus. Well, yeah. I mean, for something like that, I wouldn't be able to get that into the back of my Citroen. Definitely not. You would have to get that delivered. That would be so awesome to have. I want my mum to buy one of those now for her own garden. That'd be so funny.
I showed my wife this the other day because I said, look. She just went, no.
Come on, we can have a dinosaur in the garden.
That looks awesome. Really cool. If I do move out of my flat, if I get a garden, that is something I'm definitely going for. That just has to be done.
Okay.
It's awesome.
Hang on a second. I do want to throw something, right? Anyway, on that note, I think it's time we all say goodbye. But because Dave is a guest, we haven't done this in years. You get to do what we lovingly refer to as a shameless plug.
Hang on. As a shamed what? Sorry, you'll have to do that again.
A shamed plug.
Shamed
plug.
Plug your books, Dave. Plug your books.
All right. Okay. If I knew not you were going to do that, I would have brought them out. Actually, I've got them on my. I'm not going to run and get them because that seems a little bit sad. But
we're running out of time, Dave. Come on, man.
Okay. Right. Okay. So shameless plug. Right. First of all, I do have my own YouTube channel, which is called The Infamous Master P. So do like, comment, and subscribe to that. I did work with Gareth and Nigel to produce the Bladefoot Audiobook, which is out now on Audible. So it has received 5-star reviews and ratings. So do check that out. The Bladefoot book is also available in paperback and Kindle version, which has also received 5-star reviews. I've actually written three more books. One is called The Black Mamba, which is out now on Amazon and Lulu. I will put some links in the YouTube comments box. There's also Bladefoot Evolved, which acts as the prequel to Bladefoot, which is also out now on Amazon, which has also had 5-star reviews, and even won an award on Amazon at one point. And there is also, of course, the Gareth book, Shadow of the Black Man. But I tend to call it the Gareth book because Gareth worked quite a lot on that for the editing.
I just proofread it because your proofreader that you showed me did a shit job, and I was like,
really?
you shouldn't be paying for that. So yes, so if there's any mistakes in there, you can blame it on me.
Yeah, cheers, Gareth. No, but the Shadow of the Black Mamba has also had some very top ratings and reviews recently. So do definitely check that out. I will put the links in the comment section for you guys to enjoy. Please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It really helps out Gareth, Nigel, and Keith quite a lot. And again, thank you for having me on the show. I will probably join the show whenever I can. And yeah, it's basically been a pleasure, guys. So
okay, and
that's all the plugging done.
Because I can't use this that often.
Hello, Dave.
Yeah, okay, fine. Right.
Only when he joins to watch, you could do that.
I just want to press it. It's fun.
She can eat. All right, fine. You could really.
You're my wife now, Dave. Sorry, it's just like it always is. Can my wife use your toilet, Dave?
This is definitely going.
I never used to watch a lot of League of Gentlemen, but the Papa Lazaro one always used to crease me up. Every time you just heard that, hello there.
Anyway, guys, so say goodbye.
Yeah, just while we're shamelessly plugging, let's not forget we do have an Instagram, Monkey Nut Punch. Come follow us.
Yeah.
We've got over 800 people following us now. It's great, and it's wicked. And we chat to loads of people there, and Twitter. And don't forget the YouTubes and Facebook. Just search for us.
Dave,
we're all good.
Dave, you don't say it like that. It's Nige. Plug the Twitter.
The Twitter is crap. No, it's plug the Insta.
Note. It's goodbye. Wave goodbye, guys. Like this.
Bye-bye.
Ta-ra.